Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why you keep failing the same promises you make to yourself? Not once, not twice, but every single week. You say you'll wake up early. You don't. You say you'll train. You delay. You say this time will be different. But it isn't. And here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you lack potential. The truth is, something deeper is broken. Because in a world where you have more tools than any generation before you, more knowledge, more access, more motivation, people are weaker than ever. Short attention spans, constant anxiety, endless scrolling, dopamine addiction disguised as entertainment. You don't lack discipline. You're drowning in comfort, and comfort is killing you slowly. But 400 years ago, in a time without technology, without shortcuts, without excuses, there was a man who lived by a completely different standard. Miyamoto Musashi, a warrior who fought over 60 duels, started at 13, never lost. Not because he was the strongest, not because he was the fastest, but because he removed everything that made people weak. No hesitation, no dependence, no internal negotiation. And here's the part no one tells you. He didn't build discipline, he eliminated weakness. That's the system. Ancient, brutal, unforgiving. And today, it's more relevant than ever. Because modern life has trained you to rely on perfect conditions. You need the right mood, the right time, the right energy. But a study from Stanford University shows that the brain doesn't distinguish well between real danger and psychological discomfort when it's untrained. Meaning, your stress, your hesitation, your fear, they're not signals to stop, they're signals of an untrained system. And research from Harvard University confirms something even more disturbing. People don't fail because they lack goals. They fail because their identity is built around comfort. So every time things get hard, they retreat. You're not alone in this. Read that again. You're not alone. But that doesn't make it acceptable, because there are people, a very small percentage, who operate differently. They don't wait. They don't negotiate. They don't rely on how they feel. They execute every day, no matter what. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how that transformation happens. Not through motivation, through elimination, through a system that rewires your mind, rebuilds your body, and removes every excuse you've been hiding behind. And to make this real, I'm going to tell you the story of someone just like you, Lucas, 32 years old, engineer, husband, father, normal life, normal problems, until everything broke. But here's the problem. Most people hear systems like this, and they ignore them, because they sound extreme, and they are. This is not for everyone, but if you stay until the end, you will never look at your daily habits the same way again. Welcome to the channel, where we rebuild discipline through ancient wisdom. If you want to take control of your mind, subscribe, turn on the bell, and more importantly, comment below. What is the one weakness you know is holding you back? Because the truth is, the problem was never your lack of time. It was your attachment to comfort. And today, that ends. Asterisk asterisk. Chapter 1. The Man Who Couldn't Follow Through asterisk asterisk. Let me tell you a story about a man who looked completely normal on the outside. His name was Lucas, 32 years old, living in Chicago, a software engineer, married, 2 kids, stable income. From a distance, nothing was wrong. But that's always how it starts, because the real problem was invisible. Lucas had a pattern, a dangerous one. Every Sunday night, he became a different person, motivated, focused, disciplined. This week will be different. He would plan everything, wake up at 5 a.m., go to the gym, eat clean, be present with his family, a perfect version of himself, built in his mind. But Monday came, and reality hit. The alarm rang. He snoozed it. Once, twice, 7 times. The gym skipped. The diet broken by Wednesday. The focus gone before noon. And by Friday, he wasn't even trying anymore. Same cycle. Again, and again, and again. Strong intentions, weak execution. But here's the part that hurt the most. It wasn't just about habits. It was his life. At work, when pressure increased, He froze. When his boss challenged him, his mind went blank. When difficult conversations came up at home, he avoided them, delayed them, escaped them. He wasn't leading his life. He was reacting to it, autopilot, day after day. And deep down, he knew it. He knew he was capable of more, stronger, sharper, better. But something kept stopping him. Not physically, mentally. Then one day, it broke. In the middle of an important meeting, with his boss, and the entire team watching, his heart started racing, his hands sweating, vision narrowing. He couldn't breathe. He stood up, mumbled something, and walked out. A panic attack. Right there, in front of everyone. Tests later showed nothing was wrong. No disease, no condition, just stress, anxiety, and something worse, a completely untrained mind. The doctor told him something he couldn't ignore. Your body is reacting to discomfort, like it's danger. That sentence stayed with him, because for the first time, Lucas realized something terrifying. The problem was never his schedule. It was his system, and if he didn't fix it, nothing in his life would ever change. Asterisk, asterisk. Chapter 2. The collapse asterisk, asterisk. But here's the truth. Lucas didn't break in that meeting. He had been breaking. For years. Quietly. Slowly. Invisible to everyone else. He woke up tired. Not the kind of tired sleep fixes. The kind that sits in your chest. Heavy. Constant. Every morning felt the same. Alarm. Snooze. Regret. He would lie there, staring at the ceiling, already behind on a day that hadn't even started. And then the rush began. Emails. Deadlines. Notifications. No control. Just reaction. Coffee wasn't energy. It was survival. At work, he looked functional. But inside, he was drowning. Every task felt bigger than it was. Every decision felt heavier than it should. And the smallest pressure felt like a threat. So he avoided, delayed, escaped. Because avoidance feels safe. In the moment. But it builds something dangerous. Pressure. Stacked. Unreleased. Unresolved. At home, it didn't get better. His wife noticed, "You're here, but you're not here." And she was right. He was physically present, but mentally gone, scrolling, numbing, distracting himself from the weight he refused to face. His kids asked for attention. He gave them half of it. The other half, trapped in his own head. And that's how it happens. Not one big failure, but thousands of small ones. Ignored, repeated, normalized, until one day, your system collapses. The truth is, Lucas wasn't weak because he failed. He was weak because he kept escaping. Read that again. The problem was never failure. It was avoidance. And the longer it continued, the worse it became. Because every time he chose comfort, he reinforced the same identity. Someone who starts, but never finishes. Someone who knows, but never acts. Someone who wants more, but settles for less. And the most dangerous part, it felt normal. That was his life. That was his pattern. That was his prison. Until something forced him to confront it. Asterisk, asterisk. Chapter 3. The Discovery. Asterisk, asterisk. And then something changed. Not overnight. Not dramatically, but enough to shift everything. After the panic attack, Lucas went to see a doctor. Not because he wanted to, because he had no choice. The diagnosis was simple. Too simple. Stress. Anxiety. Nervous system overload. Lucas expected medication. A quick fix. Something external. But the doctor said something else instead. Your body isn't the problem. Your mind is untrained. That sentence hit harder than anything else. Untrained. Not broken. Not damaged. Just untrained. The doctor continued. You react to discomfort like it's danger. Your system can't tell the difference. And in that moment, something clicked. Because Lucas realized he had never trained his mind. He trained skills. He trained for work. He trained for survival. But never for control. Never for pressure. Never for fear. That night, he couldn't sleep. Not because of anxiety, but because of curiosity. So he started searching. Not motivation. Not productivity hacks. Something deeper. Something real. That's when he found it. An old text. Cold, direct, unapologetic. The teachings of Miyamoto Musashi, and more specifically, his book, The Book of Five Rings. Lucas expected philosophy, abstract ideas, inspiration. But what he found instead was a system, a manual, brutal in its simplicity. No comfort, no shortcuts, no excuses. One line stood out immediately. Do not depend on anything. He read it again and again because it made no sense. How do you improve? Without relying on something. How do you build strength? Without support. But the deeper he read, the clearer it became. Musashi wasn't teaching how to add strength. He was teaching how to remove weakness. And suddenly, Lucas saw his entire life differently. Every failure, every delay, every broken promise wasn't random. It was dependency. On mood, on energy, on perfect conditions. And for the first time, he understood the real enemy. Not the world, not his job, not his schedule, himself. Or more precisely, the version of himself that needed everything to be easy. And that was the moment the journey truly began. Asterisk. Chapter 4. Kaizen, the system of small wins. Asterisk. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think change comes from big moves, big decisions, big motivation, big transformations. Musashi didn't believe in that, and neither does this system, because real change is microscopic. Lucas kept reading, and he came across a principle that didn't come from force, but from patience. Kaizen, small steps, relentless repetition, no drama. At first, it felt underwhelming, too simple, too slow. 20 push-ups a day. That's it. No intense program, no perfect schedule, just one rule, never miss. That was it. No, 0 days. And here's the shift. Lucas stopped thinking about results. No six-pack, no transformation, just the action. Every day, same movement, same effort, no negotiation. Week 1, easy. Week 2, resistance appeared. His body ached. His mind complained. This is pointless. This won't change anything. But that's where Kaizen begins. Not when it's easy, when it's boring, when it's repetitive, when nothing exciting happens. Because the truth is, your brain hates repetition without reward. It craves novelty, dopamine, stimulation. But Kaizen ignores all of that. It builds something deeper, automation. Every rep, every small action was sending a signal. This is who I am, not someone who tries, someone who shows up. And slowly, something started shifting. The resistance didn't disappear, but it got quieter. The action didn't get easier, but it became automatic. And that's the secret. Kaizen doesn't change your life overnight. It changes your identity. Without you noticing, the truth is, the problem was never that Lucas couldn't do more. It was that he couldn't stay consistent with less. And once he fixed that, everything else became possible. Asterisk. Chapter 5. The relapse. At first, it looked like it was working. Lucas showed up. Every day. Push-ups. Breathing. Observation. No excuses. No 0 days. But then, reality pushed back. Week 3. Travel. New city. Hotel room. No routine. The old version of Lucas would have stopped. Not the right environment. I'll restart next week. That's how it always ended. But this time, he remembered the rule. No 0 days. So he adapted. No gym, floor. No chimi, fewer reps. 20 became 10. 10 became 5. But never 0. And for a moment, it felt like control, like progress. Until week 4 hit. He got sick. Fever. Fatigue. No energy. And this time, the voice came back stronger. This is stupid. Rest. Skip a day. You've already done enough. And he listened. One day, 0. The streak broke. Silence. And then the familiar feeling returned. Guilt. Frustration. Disappointment. Not because of the missed push-ups, but because of what it meant. I'm still the same. That identity came rushing back. The man who quits. The man who breaks patterns, only to fall back into them. But something was different now. Before, he would have stopped completely, waited for motivation, restart it perfectly on Monday. But Kaizen doesn't allow that. No drama, no reset, just return. So the next day, he did 5 push-ups, not 20, not 10, 5. Slow, heavy, ugly, but done. And that moment was more important than any perfect streak, because this time, he didn't collapse. He adjusted. He continued. That's the part no one talks about. Progress isn't clean. It's messy. You will fail. You will slip. You will break your own rules. But the system doesn't break. Only you do. And if you return fast enough, you don't lose identity. You reinforce it. Lucas understood something critical. It's not about never falling. It's about how quickly you stand back up. Because every comeback rewires the system. Every return kills the old version of you and builds something harder to break. The truth is, discipline isn't tested when it's easy. It's tested the moment you want to quit. And this time, Lucas didn't quit. He stayed. And that changed everything. Asterisk, asterisk. Chapter 6. The Science of Control. Asterisk, asterisk. What Lucas was doing wasn't just discipline. It was rewiring his brain. Because every time he felt resistance and acted anyway, something changed internally. The amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear, was firing. It always does. Discomfort, it labels it as danger. That's why your heart races. That's why you hesitate. But here's the shift. When Lucas stopped reacting and simply observed, he interrupted the pattern. No escape, no avoidance, just awareness. And over time, the signal weakened. That's called neuroplasticity. The brain adapts to what you repeat. Avoid stress, you become fragile. Face stress, you become stable. At the same time, another system got stronger. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for control, for decision, for action, despite emotion. Every push-up when he didn't feel like it, every moment he stayed instead of escaping, was a vote, not for motivation, for identity. And the truth is, Lucas didn't become stronger by chance. He trained his brain to stop protecting comfort and start executing under pressure. Asterisk, asterisk. Conclusion. The path you cannot ignore. Asterisk, asterisk. Lucas didn't become stronger because he wanted it more. He became stronger because he removed everything that made him weak. That's the difference. And now you've seen the system, not motivation, not hacks, a structure, a path. Let's strip it down. No complexity, just truth. He eliminated dependence. No perfect conditions, no waiting, no excuses. He trained non-reaction. Fear came. He stayed. Anxiety rose. He observed. No escape. He built the body, not for aesthetics, for resilience, repetition, pain, adaptation. He maintained awareness, not just during action, but after. Integration, learning, presence. He shifted identity from someone who tries to someone who is. That's it. Simple, but not easy. Because the truth is, the problem was never your lack of time. It was your attachment to comfort. And you know it. You've always known it. So now the question changes. Not can you do this, but will you? Because information means nothing if it doesn't become action. So here's your challenge. 14 days, not 30, not forever. 14. Pick one thing, one weakness, one pattern you know is destroying you, and eliminate it. Not reduce, not manage, eliminate. Replace it with one action. Simple, repeatable, unavoidable. Push-ups, cold shower, wake-up time, no phone in the morning. It doesn't matter what. It matters that you do it. Every day. No, 0 days. You will fail. At some point. You will slip. That's expected. But you don't restart. You return. Immediately. That's the rule. Because identity is not built on perfection. It's built on consistency after failure. So look at your life. Honestly, where are you escaping? Where are you negotiating? Where are you choosing comfort over who you could become? Sit with that. Don't ignore it. Because that answer is your starting point. If you've watched until the end, thank you. Not casually, but seriously. Because most people don't get this far. And don't wait. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the right time. Start today. Right after this video, comment below. What is the first thing you will eliminate? Make it public. Make it real. And if you're serious about mastering your mind, subscribe. Turn on the bell, because this path requires repetition. And remember, strength that scares others comes from discipline they refuse to build. Thank you for watching until the end. Now go, be present, walk with honor, follow the path.